You locked your doors last night. You turned off your lights. You went to bed. And while you slept, someone walked into your home office, sat down at your computer, and installed software you never asked for. That is not a metaphor. That is exactly what Microsoft did to millions of Windows users this past June. They called it an update. They didn't call you. They didn't ask you. They didn't even send an email. They just did it. And here's the question that should be keeping you up at night, maybe more than the break-in itself. When exactly did you stop owning your own computer? This is Behind the Tech, where we pull back the curtain on what the biggest corporations in the world are actually doing while you're not looking. Today we're talking about Microsoft, about a man named Satya Nadella, about an AI called Copilot, and about a move so brazen, so calculated, that it changes the rules of the game between you and your technology forever. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what landed on your machine, exactly why Microsoft did it, and exactly how to get rid of it. Let's begin. Here's what we know, and we know it because Microsoft's own update logs don't lie. In June 2025, Microsoft began pushing a mandatory update to Windows 10 and Windows 11 machines across the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and beyond. Now, updates happen all the time. Security patches, bug fixes, nobody blinks. But this update was different. This update didn't fix anything on your computer. This update added something. Specifically, it installed the Microsoft Copilot application, an AI assistant directly onto your taskbar without a prompt, without a checkbox, without a warning. One morning, millions of people sat down at their computers and noticed something new, a little icon, a colorful swirl right there on the taskbar. They didn't download it, they didn't approve it, it was just there. Now, some of you watching right now might be thinking, well, I do have automatic updates on. Isn't that what updates are for? Fair point. And here's where it gets important. There is a legal and moral difference between a security update, which protects the machine you own, and a software installation, which puts a new program on your property. One is like your landlord fixing a leaky pipe. The other is like your landlord moving a new piece of furniture into your living room while you are asleep. And not mentioning it, Microsoft crossed that line. And the reason they crossed it, that's where the story gets really interesting. Let me introduce you to a number. 365 million. That's how many active Windows users Microsoft claims to have. And now, let me introduce you to a problem. When Microsoft announced Copilot, their flagship AI product, to tremendous fanfare in 2023 and 2024, the adoption numbers were disappointing. People weren't clicking. People weren't signing up. People weren't choosing to use it. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, has staked the future of his company on artificial intelligence. He has made that bet publicly, loudly, repeatedly, to shareholders, to the press, to anyone who would listen. Microsoft has spent, and I want you to let this number sink in, over $13 billion investing in AI, including a massive partnership with OpenAI. $13 billion. And the AI isn't being adopted fast enough. So here's the calculation that was made in a boardroom. Not in your living room, not with your permission, but in a glass tower in Redmond, Washington. If people won't choose Copilot, we'll put Copilot on their machines anyway, and the usage numbers will go up, and Wall Street will be happy. That is not speculation. That is the only logical explanation for a forced installation. Because here's the thing, Microsoft doesn't need to install Copilot to fix your computer. Your computer was working fine without it. They need to install Copilot to fix their earnings report, your machine, their numbers. And that ought to make you angry. But here's what should make you even more concerned, because we haven't even gotten to the part about what Copilot is actually doing while it's sitting there on your taskbar. Let's talk about what you can't see. Software doesn't just sit still. Especially AI software. When Copilot runs on your machine, even when you're not using it, it consumes processing power. It uses your RAM, which is the short-term memory of your computer. Now, for a younger machine, that might not matter much, but for a lot of the machines that millions of people are running right now, machines that are 3, 4, 5 years old, every percentage point of CPU you didn't ask for is a percentage point that slows down the things you did ask for. Think of it like this. You have a car. It runs perfectly fine. One day you get in and there's a stranger in the back seat. You didn't invite them. They say they're just going to sit there quietly, but your gas mileage still goes down. That's the resource argument, and it's real. But there's a second argument, and this one is bigger. Privacy. Here is what Microsoft's own documentation tells us Copilot can access when it's running on your machine. Your files, your emails, your browsing history, your calendar, your conversations. Now, Microsoft will tell you this is all to personalize your experience. They will tell you it's to make Copilot more helpful. And maybe that's true, but there's a question they don't answer in their documentation, a question that should be front and center every time you think about AI running on your private machine. Where does that data go? We know it goes to Microsoft servers. We know it's used to train and improve the AI. We know it helps Microsoft build a detailed profile of how you use your computer. What we don't know, what Microsoft has not made crystal clear, is who else has access to that profile. What happens if there's a breach? What happens to your data 5 years from now when you're on a different computer and Copilot is 5 versions more powerful? You didn't sign up for any of that. It was put on your machine while you slept. Now, I promised you at the start of this video that we would do something about it, and that time is right now, because knowing the problem is only half the job. Taking back your computer, that's the other half. You own this machine, not Microsoft, not Satya Nadella, not a shareholder in Redmond, Washington. You. And right now, I'm going to show you step by step how to remove what Microsoft put there without asking. We're going to cover 3 methods. From simplest to most permanent. Pick the one that fits your comfort level. Method 1, the quick fix. Hide it from your taskbar. If you just want that icon gone from your eyes, this takes 30 seconds. Right-click anywhere on your taskbar. The bar at the bottom of your screen. You'll see a menu appear. Look for taskbar settings. Click that. A new window opens. You'll see a list of items that can appear on your taskbar. Find Copilot. Toggle it off, gone. Just like that. Now, and this is not important, hiding it is not the same as removing it. The software is still on your machine. It's just not visible. Think of it as closing a door on a room you don't want to use, but the room is still there. For many people, that's enough, but if you want it fully out of your system, method 2, the full removal. Uninstall from settings. Go to your Start menu, click the gear icon. That's Settings. Go to Apps, then click Installed Apps. In the search bar at the top, type Copilot. You should see it appear. Click the 3 dots next to it and click Uninstall. Confirm the uninstall. Give it a moment. Done. Now, I have to be honest with you here because you deserve honesty. Microsoft has, on some machines and in some regions, made Copilot difficult or impossible to uninstall through this method. They've designated it a system component in certain configurations. If you try this and the uninstall button is grayed out, or if the option doesn't appear, that means Microsoft has locked it down on your specific setup. Which brings us to method 3. Method 3, the nuclear option, registry, and group policy. This is for those of you who want Copilot completely and permanently blocked, not just hidden, not just uninstalled, but prevented from coming back. Because here's a reality that Microsoft doesn't advertise. Some users who uninstalled Copilot through settings found it reinstalled in a subsequent Windows update. That's right, they took it off. Microsoft put it back. The only way to prevent that reliably on a Windows 11 Pro or business machine is through a tool called the Group Policy Editor. Press the Windows key and R at the same time. A small box appears. Type gpedit.msc and press Enter. Navigate to Computer Configuration, arrow Administrative Templates, arrow Windows Components, arrow Windows Copilot. You'll see a setting called Turn Off Windows Copilot. Double-click it, select Enabled, click OK. That's it. Group policy is now instructing Windows to keep Copilot off. Even future updates will be blocked from re-enabling it. If you're on Windows 11 Home, which doesn't include Group Policy Editor, the equivalent method is through the Registry Editor. That's slightly more technical, and I've linked a step-by-step guide in the description below. The key takeaway: there are tools available to you. Microsoft made this complicated, but they couldn't make it impossible. Your machine, your rules. Now, if you found this section useful, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. We do this every week. New Microsoft move, new big tech story, new way to stay informed and stay in control. You'll want to be here for what's coming next. And I promise you, something always is. Here's what I need you to understand. This is not a glitch. This is not an accident. This is not Microsoft getting confused about what they're allowed to do. This is a strategy. Microsoft has been moving in this direction for years. Every new version of Windows has quietly brought with it a new default. More data sharing, more connected services, more Microsoft applications preloaded and difficult to remove. Remember when Windows 10 shipped with Candy Crush Saga already installed? People laughed, called it annoying. It wasn't annoying, it was a test to see how many people would complain loudly enough to matter. The answer, unfortunately, was not enough. And so they pushed further. They tested whether users would tolerate OneDrive being integrated so deeply into Windows that removing it required advanced workarounds. They tested whether users would accept Bing search being set as the default and stay that way, even when you changed it to Google. Each time, not enough pushback. Each time, they learned that most users accept what's put in front of them. And now, Copilot, an AI running on your hardware, learning from your behavior, sending data to Microsoft's servers, installed without permission. This is the logical destination of a decade of boundary testing. And if we don't draw a line here, clearly, firmly, and loudly, the next step will be worse. I'm not saying Microsoft is evil. I'm saying Microsoft is a publicly traded company with shareholders to answer to, and shareholders don't care about your privacy. They care about growth. They care about AI adoption numbers. They care about the stock price, your comfort, your property, your data. Those are means to their ends, not ends in themselves. That is the nature of the machine we're dealing with. And the only counterweight to that machine is an informed user who knows what's happening on their own computer. That's why this channel exists. Let's step back and be clear about what happened here. Microsoft used the update infrastructure that you trust, the system designed to keep your machine secure, and repurposed it for a business objective. They turned a security tool into a distribution channel. That is a serious breach of the implicit contract between a software company and the people who use its products. You bought a Windows computer, you paid for it, you accepted updates because you were told those updates were for your benefit, your security, your stability. You were not told those updates might someday include applications installed on behalf of Microsoft's revenue strategy. Now, what can you actually do beyond removing Copilot? 3 things. 1. Stay informed. Versions of this story will repeat. This is not the last time a major corporation will use your machine or your phone or your TV to advance their agenda. Knowing it's coming is half the battle. 2. Make your voice heard. Microsoft reads user feedback. They track reviews. They notice when their update notes generate complaints. Leave a review. Post in their community forums. Send an email. They count the volume of dissatisfied users. 3. Consider your alternatives. This is not an advertisement, it's a genuine suggestion. Linux-based operating systems have improved dramatically over the past decade. For many everyday tasks, browsing, email, documents, video, they perform extremely well, are fully free, and have no corporate entity installing things on your machine at 3 a.m. That may not be the right choice for everyone, but it's worth knowing the option exists. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Did you notice the Copilot icon appearing on your taskbar without asking for it? How did it make you feel when you realized it was installed silently? Drop a comment. Tell me your experience, because the more we talk about this openly, the harder it becomes for companies to pretend we didn't notice. And speaking of things that have been done quietly while you weren't looking, next week on Behind the Tech, we're going into something that connects directly to what we talked about today. You see, Copilot is just the front door. There's an entire back-end infrastructure, data centers, server logs, AI training pipelines that most Windows users have absolutely no idea they're feeding into every single day. We're going to open that door, and what's inside it will surprise you. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay in control.